Hi folks, I want to talk about window location in Cypress test and how to work around it, how to stub it in end-to-end test and component test. So Gleb has a pretty neat post about end-to-end part of it, and let's just go through that example. So let's say we have an application, right? And then in the application, something happens. It could be a button click, could be anything. As a result of it, window location assigned is called and we're directed out of our application. So what happens is, let's say we don't have any of these workarounds, right? Visit the application. Let's just run our test here. Now it just ends up redirecting us elsewhere. So he covered that pretty nicely in an older blog post, and I had a difficult time finding this. So I'll just go over this real quick, and then we'll talk about how we do the same thing in a component test. So effectively, just like here, we just got to know that window location is locked down and it cannot be stopped. So we wouldn't be able to do side stop win.location. It just doesn't work, right? So instead, we kind of trick the browser. And before the window is loaded in an end-to-end test, we set a variable called underscore underscore location. And instead, that one has a property called assign, just like when location has a assign property here. And then we just stop that, right? That's all it takes. The next step is after we've done that, we intercept everything that's going out to this website, right? And then we yield the request callback. We let that continue towards the backend. That's fine. But we need this response, right? So the point is to be able to get the response body and replace all occurrences of window location assigned with our dummy variable. And then what we can do is we can actually, since we intercepted that, we can wait on that. And since this dummy variable isn't really letting anything go out, then we stay on the same page instead. So I'll just save the test and then I'll run it again one more time. So we're preventing it from going outside thanks to our dummy variable and the intercept. I think this could be also a reply. I don't think it has to continue. Let's just try. Yeah, reply also work. So I mean, the point is just to yield this response out of there and then be able to uh, make a modification to the response package just so that we can change the window location of it. So if you want to know more about the details, I have the link up there, and we covered this before. So challenge today was, okay, how do we make this work in a component test? And after a lot of back and forth with him, he gave me the solution, and then we realized that it's actually he actually covered it in a blog post before. So let's just take a look at a component test. So let's just switch component testing. So we cannot do the same thing we did with Cypress. Well, Cypress intercept would work in a component test, but obviously the on before window load is not a thing in Cypress component test. Now the solution may seem crude, but it's quite all right in my opinion. So basically, let's say we have this component, right? We don't even have to look at the test yet. Let's say we have this component and let that load. And yeah, and let's say originally what we're trying to do is window location assign. And we are going to do this upon something. It could be a button click, it could be anything like that. And as soon as we call, we click the button, we're going to change the location. So this could be location assign, location replace, anything, any window location. Again, we cannot stop it. So that's why this was painful. So let's just do redirect login. Okay, yeah, this one. Try and stop. Yep. No, no, no. We don't want to do that. Let's just not do anything in the test because it doesn't exist. Does not exist either. Okay, we don't even have to do anything in the test. We can just demo it ad hoc in a component test, right? All right. So we have our component. Okay, it's just a button, and when we click it, the submit event happens, and then window location puts us in an external URL, and we don't want that at all in any test, especially in a component test, right? So his recommendation is make this dummy object. And I think internally, if you're doing this, you could just put this in a lib. Any place you have window location. Instead, you could call this location constant, which has an assign property. So maybe you have maybe like a replace property somewhere too. So it could be that too. And your internal um, libraries. So just have this location constant with those locked window location functions that you need to be calling, right? So it could be either or. And uh, so this wouldn't be here, right? This would be somewhere else. And maybe we should do that, but it doesn't really matter for this one. Um, and then in a component, instead of window location assign, what we would do is, yeah, let's just use this location, right? Because right now the component is doing exactly the same thing. No, nothing has changed about the component, right? It's 100% same thing. But what that allows us to do is now we can actually import this location dummy object, right? And then and, we can just undo what we did, right? So this does not apply. I can just refer to this link again. So since we are reporting location, right, we can actually stub the assigned property over there, and that will allow us to fully work around the issue, right? Instead of having to invoke window assign and go to this URL, we can just say, hey, upon this click, assign will be called and stubbed. So let's just do that, and as we see now, it's not redirected, right? It's just every time you click it, it's going to call the stub and it's going to prevent things from getting redirected. So that one, yeah, again, hidden gems, amazing from Gleb, but it took me so much effort and it took a while for him to realize, hey, I already covered this somewhere. So here is that blog post. Um, stub and import from Cypress v10 component test. I mean, the topic isn't exactly that, but there's a, as usual, hidden gem in there, having to deal with window location. So in this one, it's host name and path name, but the idea is the same. It just applies the same way. So I am pushing this code right into what is this guy? Yep, here window location assign. So it's going to be under Cypress React component test examples, and then you can I'll attach the PR so you can see it. But at the end, it's going to be in um, in one of there's going to be end-to-end test example and login example. So anytime you have to deal with window location, now you have sample code. Also, you have the link to Gleb's two blog posts, one for e2e, one for component test, and I guess that's it, right? Enjoy later.